Hello WebGIS class, summer semester Johns Hopkins. My name is Doug, and I will be demonstrating some of the functionality of my web application that I created for my final project. First off, there's two components. There's a field collector, as you can see here on the right, which was created using the same web map base layers as the second component, the monitoring and analysis app, that contains more functionality, all the analysis tools at the top. So there are 4 editable feature layers listed here. There's dead birds, dead animals, water conditions, and watershed point collection layer. Each one of them have very similar attributes pertaining to the conditions from the field, the species of bird, the species of associated dead animal, allow the user to take photos and upload into the cloud, which is ingested into the web map and used in this web application right here. This is what I'll be discussing now. There are 7 associated widgets that I incorporated into it. The first one, everything is geolocated, so I can type in an address. I'll type in my place along the Space Coast here, northeast. It'll go right to the house, and you can zoom out and you can still see there's I had a dead cat. I'm not sure if it was associated, but I took a point, and you can see the picture. I'm not going to click on the picture because it'll open up in a different window, but there you have all the open channel data and the outfall locations, which are associated with discharge, water discharge coming from stormwater sewers, ditches, and the like. The second component, the second widget that I use for this application, is a bookmark that allows the user to navigate easily and monitor specific locations that have a high probability of algal blooms. Areas with a lot of impervious surface runoff, sheet flow runoff, such as runways. There's a couple of airports here near the water. The sewage and the stormwater ends up in the channels, going down the water channel, and eventually making it into the coastal waterways, and quite possibly result in a red tide or a harmful algal bloom. There's other bookmarks that are associated with it. Golf courses are a big one. I think I have a golf course on here somewhere. Okay, and then the next widget that I incorporated is a locate incidents analysis tool. So if I'm out in the field and I collected let's find one, a dead bird or a dead animal, I can try to correlate that with maybe a nearby algal bloom. So I can drop, the first thing that I do is drop a point, or I can select a point as well, define a buffer size, and then search for water conditions that might be associated with that dead bird. Maybe it was eating some toxic algae and got sick and died. And there are 2 of them, and they're both poor quality. Not one is acceptable quality. The color of the water is brown, and they both have an odor associated with them. This incident analysis can be run on, I've set it up for, it can be run on outfall point location data as well to find the source discharge associated with this incident. So I can put another, for example, I can put another point here, drop a point, define the buffer distance that I'm interested in, and let's say that point is a dead animal or a dead bird or a water condition that's associated with HABs, and then look for the outfall condition, and there are all of my locations that I could send a field collector or a field tech out and do water analysis on every single one of these potential source locations for that HABs associated water feature. I can export that into a CSV. The next widget that I incorporated in this application is more for a post-process. After the data is collected and ingested into this, this allows, with the correct privileges, a user to quality control and validate some of the data. So they have limited functionality, but they're able to give a report. I'm able to select the feature type, dead birds, let's say, and maybe there's an error with that, or maybe there's 3 or 4 different dead birds in the area. I can click on that dead bird. It allows me to. It should. Oh. We'll try another one. I can also draw a polygon and then go in and do a positioning error, or maybe a reshape, change the position of the bird, where the bird was collected, based on maybe it was just a poor GPS reading. There you have it. And then there's a couple more functional widgets that I've incorporated in this. I've created a chart, a share. This allows users to share this application with their friends to get the word out. Quantity over quality sometimes, considering that it's a citizen science application. So the more people, the better for quantitative analysis. And then charts. This allows me to select a feature type and visualize the data a little bit differently. This is the dead bird by species. I can select, I can see that there's 4.62% of Muscovy duck, the species of Muscovy duck collected in the database. And here's another one, white-cheeked pintail. There's 9.24% of the database is that type of bird. So maybe there's a relationship if you're studying individual species affected by these halves. I can also do the same type of chart analysis with water conditions, and this filters by the color of the water conditions that were reported in the field. There's green, there's red, and there's brown. Water conditions associated with the potential HABs, harmful algal blooms, and collected from the field. And then, let's see, I think I covered all of them. And then finally, there is a watershed analysis that can be run. I can collect any one of these points, but most often I'm interested in high elevation watershed. So if there's a farm that might be the source of a harmful algal bloom, I can go over here and drop a elevation point or a watershed point right here. Give it a buffer, maybe 1,000 meters. Change this to 1 and point to the portal, my ArcGIS Online portal, or every user will have their own storage location, and run the analysis. And that tool will run. Might take a little bit, but that'll give us some understanding of what is downstream from this potential source of harmful algal blooms. And this is executing. There you have it. That's my web application.